Today we're going to learn a simple beginner version of Heart of Gold by Neil Young. We'll go through the chords used throughout the song so that we're familiar and comfortable playing them, and then move into how the song is played. Now the first thing you want to do before you start playing guitar is you want to make sure your guitar is in tune. Today's song is actually played in standard tuning, and I suggest using a digital tuner to make sure you can get in perfect tuning. Another really important thing to do before you start playing guitar is to cut your fingernails nice and short. What this will do is it'll make it easier for you to press down onto the strings, and then that will eliminate any unnecessary buzzing or muting of the strings while you're playing. The next thing we're going to do before we start is we're going to number our fingers so that when I describe to you which finger to use where on each string to form a chord, you'll know exactly what I mean. Finger number 1 is going to be our index finger. Finger number 2 is your middle finger. Finger number 3 is your ring finger. And then finger number 4 is your pinky. Now let's move into the chords used throughout the song. Alright, so there are 5 chords we're going to learn how to play for this song. Now the first one is an E minor 7. We're going to play it a little bit differently than we usually play because we're not going to use our pinky. We're going to use a D chord, an E minor, a regular C, and a 4-finger G. Now don't panic, so we're going to go into these in nice and detailed right now, starting with the E minor 7.
The E minor 7 variation is exactly like the E minor 7, except with an open high E string.
Now, like I said for the E minor 7 that we're going to use an E minor 7 without our pinky finger. Now, if you feel more comfortable using your pinky finger because you're more comfortable doing that, then that's fine, and it won't sound any different. But for right now, we're going to use just the 1, okay? So our E minor 7 is going to be played like so. Finger number 1 is going to be placed onto the 2nd fret of our A string. Finger number 2 is going to be placed onto the 2nd fret of our D string. And then finger number 3 is going to be placed down here onto the B string on the 3rd fret. Now if you so choose, if you want to play the other version of an E minor 7, you can put your pinky down here onto the high E string on the 3rd fret as well. But for this instruction, we're not going to do it, okay? So our E minor 7 without our pinky should sound like this. Okay? The next one we're going to learn is our D chord.
The next chord, D, uses only 3 fingers.
Alright, so the D chord is going to use finger number 1, 2, and 3. We're going to take our finger number 1. It's going to be placed onto the 2nd fret of our G string. Finger number 2 is going to be placed onto the 2nd fret of the high E string, 2 strings down. Then finger number 3 is going to come down here onto the 3rd fret of our B string in between our other 2 strings, like so. And our D chord should sound like this. Now you notice that I'm putting my thumb up here. I'm just touching that E string so that it doesn't get played, okay? Now we're going to move into the E minor, which is our next chord.
The next chord, E minor, is only using 2 fingers. Whichever 2 fingers is most comfortable for you is what you should use.
Alright, so the E minor, we're going to use fingers number 1 and 2. Fingers number 1 is going to go onto the 2nd fret of our A string. Finger number 2, 2nd fret of our D string. And we're going to strum all 6 strings. And there's our E minor. Now we're going to move into our regular C chord.
The next chord is a C chord. The C chord uses 3 fingers.
Okay, so our C chord, going to use fingers number 1, 2, and 3. Finger number 1 is going to be placed here onto the 1st fret of our B string. Finger number 2 is going to come down here onto our D string on the 2nd fret. And then finger number 3 down here onto the 3rd fret of our A string. Altogether, our C chord should sound like this. Again, you'll see that I have my thumb up there. If you can't do that, it's okay. If you play the open E with your C chord, it'll just sound a little heavier. Like so. Okay? No problem at all if you can't do it. The next one we're going to learn is our 4-finger G.
The next chord is a G major, or what I like to call a 4-finger G, where all 4 fingers are used.
Alright, so our 4-finger G is going to incorporate, of course, all 4 fingers. Finger number 1 will be placed onto the 2nd fret of our A string. Finger number 2, 3rd fret of our big E. And then finger number 3 and 4 are going to be right next to each other down here onto the 3rd fret of our B and then our high E. should sound like so. Alright, now let's move into the intro of the song. Alright, so there's only a few different parts to this song. It's not very difficult, but it's remembering where to go and when that might actually be a little bit more of a challenge than other songs. Okay, so the first part of the song is going to be played with our E minor 7. This is an intro and he plays this 2 times. And then after this, he plays a harmonica part and he plays the verse over the top of that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this intro part in regular time so you understand and you can hear how it goes. And what this encompasses is an E minor 7, D, E minor. And that's it. And he plays that chord progression just 2 times. Then he goes right into the part where he plays a harmonica. And it goes like this. That's it. That's all. Very simple. Now he plays a little bit fast, so you might need to practice to get your changes down, but a little bit of practice and it'll work perfect. Okay? Now let's play that together, nice and slow. Okay? Again, it's our E minor 7, or if you want to put your 4th finger down there, that's okay as well. Then we go from our E minor 7 to our D, and then to our E minor. We'll do that 2 times, and we'll play it nice and slow together, okay? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. D, E minor. Again. E minor 7. D, E minor. That's it, guys. Give that a little rewind, practice, and now we're going to move into the verse, and in this case, the first verse, where he plays a little bit of harmonica over the top, okay? Here we go. Alright, so the verse is going to consist of 4 different chords, okay? We're going to do our E minor. Now when we switch from our E minor, we're going to go to the C chord. Now to make this a little easier, finger number 2 doesn't move because it's already in place for the C chord, which is going to come after this E minor, okay? Lift finger number 1, put it down here in place for our C. Finger number 3 comes down here in place on our A string. And then finger number 2 stays put because that's already there, okay? So E minor, C, then back to our D, and then since we're in this shape, we're going to do our 4-finger G after this. So take your 4th finger and just put it down there, and then finger number 3 and 4 stay put, and then finger number 2 and 3 come up here to form our G. Alright, now I'm going to play through this for 2 lines, just so you understand what it sounds like and how it sounds like in regular time. It should sound like this. Okay? Now what he does is he plays this, that exact thing, I played it twice. He plays that 3 times while he sings. Okay? And then there's another part, it's like, I'm going to call it a verse 1.1. Okay? It's the end of the verse, but he plays a different chord progression 2 times. So he plays that one that we just did 3 times, and then verse 1.1 2 times. Now we're going to get into that. But first, let's take this verse number 1, and we're going to play that nice and slow together, okay? We're going to learn it together. Okay, so again, it's an E minor, C, D, and our 4-finger G. Okay? Now here we go. On the count of 3, we'll play this nice and slow together. And just so we know exactly what we're doing, we're going to play this 3 times, which is the actual amount of times. When I demonstrated it, I played it twice. Well, let's play it the full 3 times together, nice and slow. On the count of 3, here we go. 1, 2, 3, E minor, C, D, 4-finger G, back to the E minor, to the C, to the D, to the 4-finger G. One more time. E minor, to the C, then to the D, 4-finger G to end it off. Okay? Now that's the first part of the verse. I'm going to call it verse 1.0, and then we'll do verse 1.1. Going to come right here, okay? Now rewind, practice that part, and then we're going to start the second part of the verse, which is the end of the verse, okay? Here we go. Alright, so the end of the verse is almost like the intro, okay? He's going to play an E minor 7, and then to a G, and then a C, and then he stays on the C for a little bit longer, and then back to the G to finish it off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this in regular time, then I'm going to stop, then I'm going to go back and I'm going to play the first part of the verse and this verse, the second part of the verse together. And then we're going to learn the second part of the verse together, okay? So here we go. So first part, or the second part of the verse sounds like this. Okay, so that's the second part of the verse. Now I'm going to put them together, and then we'll go back and we'll learn the second part of the verse, and then we'll put it together, okay? Here we go. So the first part of the verse sounds like this. That's once. One more time. Okay, now we're going to move into the second part of the verse. Okay, now you have an idea of what it should sound like? Now let's play this second part of the verse together, and then we'll go back and together we'll put it all together, okay? Here we go, on the count of 3. Again, it's an E minor 7, G, 4-finger G, then to a C, and then back to a G. Alright, here we go. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. To the G. To the C. Stay on the C. Now change now. Okay? Now to get the rhythm and to get where you change for that C, rewind back to the part that I played it in regular time, and then practice along with that when you can get your speed up and you're able to. Okay? So that's the verse, and that's all the verses. They're almost all identical. Now there's one part that's a little bit different. Now if you remember, in the song there's 2 harmonica parts. After the second harmonica part, he does a little bit of an ending, which is almost an amalgamation of a verse and the intro. Now I'm going to show you how to play that right now. Okay, so after the second harmonica part, now if you really have to understand where I am in the song, so I suggest you listen to the song so you understand where we are at this point, okay? So after the second harmonica part, it's going to go like this, with an E minor, then to a D, then back to the E minor. Now that exact chord progression, he's going to play that 3 times, okay? 3 times. Okay, so to get an idea of how this sounds, it's when he starts singing at the end, keep me searching for a heart of gold. Keep me searching for a heart of gold. And he continuously says that. Okay, so it's going to sound like this in regular time, with an E, D, E minor, okay? A little bit of a quick change. Okay, that's 3 times. Okay, now on the 4th time, that's the very last line of the song. He stays with that E minor at the beginning. Then he goes to the G. he goes to a C. And then the last strum is on a 4-finger G, and then he's finished. Okay? So rewind, listen to that, and listen to the song as well, how he plays it, and you'll be able to play along with him pretty much. Now, I want to go through this last part with you, nice and slow together, so that we learn it before we finish the video. Okay? So on the count of 3, we're going to play the first 3 lines, which is the E minor, D, and back to the E minor. We'll do that 3 times, and then we'll stop, and then we'll learn the next part, which is the E minor, G, C, and then ending off on the G for the very last stroke of the song. Okay? So on the count of 3, on the E minor. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. To the D, back to the E minor. E minor again. D, E minor. One more time. To the D, back to the E minor. Okay, that's the first part. Now the last line we're going to learn right now is the E minor, G, C, end it off on the G, okay? Now let's play that last part again. So it's E minor, G, C, G. On the count of 3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. To the G. To the C. Wait. C to the G. Okay? Now one more time, let's play that all together. All 4 of those lines, which is the very last part. So again, E minor, D, E minor, 3 times, and then E minor, G, C, G. Okay? Here we go on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. That's 2. E minor, D, back to the E minor. Now we're on the last part. Moving to the G. C. Last chord of the G. There you go, guys. Perfect. Hey guys, great job learning Heart of Gold by Neil Young. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if it helped you, don't forget to check out the rest of our videos and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks again for watching, guys, and good luck!